Hey guys, what's up? This is Casey. This is Coach Tom. This is Shot Science Overtime, number 87. And what we usually do is we have a topic that we talk about at the top of the show right now. And it allows you guys to send us your questions for anything that you want to know about basketball, shooting, dribbling, passing, defense, training, vertical jump, whatever it is. Just send us your questions and we'll do our best to answer them. The best place to reach us at is on Twitter. We are at Shot Science there. You can also reach us on Google Plus, Facebook, and on our YouTube page. And we're Shot Science on all of those. So it's super easy to get a hold of us. And just let us know what you want to know. And we will do our best to give you an answer. You can also check out all of our content on those places too. But while you're sending us your questions, the best thing you can do is sit here and listen to what our topic is for today. Because what we're going to do is talk about how to talk to your coach about anything, because I know a lot of kids have trouble approaching their coach and talking to them, even about some of the simplest stuff and stuff that really should be no problem for you to talk to your coach about. So while we're talking about that stuff, send us your questions, tell your friends to join the show, and we'll see you in a few minutes to talk about your questions. All right, go for it.
Okay, the topic is how to talk to your coach. Some things that are really important there to remember is that coaches are human beings just like all the rest of us. And when you talk to them or contact them, you want to take and treat them with whatever respect they deserve. And certainly they should treat you as well the same way. One of the things that happens is that oftentimes we don't really communicate too much with the coach when we're off the floor, because we're busy trying to get practice things done. And so one of the things that I think would be really good is to make a point to drop by the coach's office when you have a few minutes and just sit down and chat. Often they're really up for that.
Yeah, start off your relationship being one where you're open to talking and having a discussion.
Really?
One of the worst things you can do is, hide under a rock or just, let things kind of go where you're just taking directions and you're scared to approach your coach.
Yeah, most of those guys that are coaching have been doing it for a while, and they're very open to you, to contact with you. And I think that stopping by their office and just chatting about things that aren't even about basketball, just so you kind of set up a rapport with them so that you can feel comfortable when you talk to them, and vice versa. They can feel that way when you they talk to you as well. And so the thing that's really important then is to start an early dialogue on the team. If you're new to the team, that's particularly important, so that you can find out kind of where he is, he can find out kind of where you are, and you don't even have to talk about basketball. Then some of the things to really consider are these, is that oftentimes players will wait until they're just totally pissed.
Yeah.
They're just really feeling very raw on the inside, and they would just want to let it all out because they know they're better than the other guys that are playing and they should have an opportunity. Well, one of the things that's real important to understand is that coaches usually are a pretty good judge of the people that they have on their team and what they can contribute and where they are going to be lacking.
And they're also not mind readers.
Well, that's true. That's true. They are.
So they can't know what you're thinking or what's going on with you unless you verbalize that with them.
Yeah, and verbalizing anything with a coach or a teacher or a principal or anything like that should be done with a level of respect, so that they are not feeling like they're being attacked by you or by your parents, for that matter.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too, is that I think a lot of people, when they go into that situation and they actually do talk to their coach, they can come off as being somewhat entitled and making it seem like they should get more out of more out of the decisions than somebody else of equal status. Right. Like you deserve it more, and that's not really the best way to approach your coach at all.
No, it isn't. And the thing that you find out when you start talking to coaches is you find out, you can ask them questions like, why am I not getting a chance to play more? Or how come Billy is playing, 75% of the time and I'm playing 25% of the time? And if you do that in a non-threatening way, you're going to find that the coach will have an answer for you, and he'll explain exactly what the problem is. Maybe it's because, you're not very good with a basketball. Maybe it's because you're not shooting the ball very well.
Mhm.
Maybe it's because you don't play hard. There's a whole raft of reasons that he may not be playing you more. And if you don't know what those are, because most of us, when we're playing for somebody, the coach doesn't take us aside every day and tell, okay, these are your deficiencies and these are the things you need to work on. They might say something as an aside like this: hey, you need to work on that left hand. That left hand's a little weak. And maybe that's all you get out of it. And so if you have an opportunity where you can sit with a coach and say, Coach, I've been wondering about my game, and could you kind of help me with some ideas on things that I could work on that maybe would help me play a little bit more? That's a non-threatening kind of approach, and yet it's very inviting to the coach because he's not feeling threatened, and he will say, okay, here's the list of things I think that probably would help you a bunch to help you get a little bit more playing time.
Yeah, just asking, like, what can you work on? What are some things that he sees that you could get to developing and bring your game up to where it needs to be. And here's the other thing too, is that coaches can read body language. They can read kind of attitudes. And if you have kind of a crappy attitude, or you're bummed out all the time, and you're stewing over, oh, my coach hates me, he doesn't play me, blah, 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 all that stuff, he will see that, he or she will see that,
Yep.
and they will interpret it the way that they will interpret it, which may not be in the way that you think that they would.
It won't favor you.
Yeah.
You can bet on that.
They might be thinking that this guy has a crappy attitude, he shouldn't even be playing on the team, and all that stuff. You will find yourself playing even less than what you were just in a neutral situation. So you need to talk to them, get past all that stuff, kind of put that aside, and actually just approach them with an unentitled kind of just reaching out, really, is what it is.
Well, there's another point here that's really important too, is that what is your bench decorum? How do you act on the bench? And oftentimes players that are not playing as much as they think they should be playing will congregate at the end of the bench, and they will become a distraction during games. And let's say that they're communicating or whatever somewhere or another with people who are in the bleachers. They're screaming at the opposition, yelling at officials, all kinds of things like that. And those kind of things really don't help your situation very much either. And so your bench decorum is really important. Number one, the coach wants to know that the guys that are sitting on the bench, because they are important too.
And the coach sees those people.
Oh, yeah, he does.
It's not like he is just focused on the people out on the court. The coach sees everything that's going on.
Yeah, and he may not address it right at that moment, but there'll be a time when he will address it.
Or maybe not. Maybe it'll be kind of a passive
just let you
decision.
kill yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not kill yourself, but just work yourself further and further out of playing time.
Right. Right.
So you really have to. The worst thing you can do is not have communication.
Right.
Communication is really key in anything, especially in basketball or sports. You got to be communicating out on the floor with your teammates so that everybody's on the same page. Same thing with your coach. If you're not on the same page with your coach, people will be interpreting the situations as they will, and that might not be in your favor.
Right.
So you always need to be open and talking about things. And that might be tough, especially initially, but if you are able to have an open dialogue with your coach, that will only serve you better throughout the whole situation, or throughout your whole kind of career together.
Well, and it serves the coach well too, because he gets to find out who you are. And when you are kind of laying back and you're sniping at the coach, and maybe he can't even hear what you're saying, maybe, but you're kind of putting the coach down, or also the fact that maybe your parents are kind of involved in bad mouthing the coach. That's not good either. And, sometimes there's not a whole lot that the player themselves can do about that. But I would warn you that one of the best things to do is tell mom and dad, hey, I don't want you to be saying anything about the coach or to the coach. I will deal with it myself. And, the thing that really comes out of that is that allows you to kind of take charge of your own play, your own life in dealing with some things that are tough. I can remember many times being on the bench and not really playing very much. And I was kind of, I was not feeling good about that. I never got to the point, well, I did once in football, but I never really got to the point in basketball where I was just going to quit it. But in football, I did, and I'm glad I didn't. I had a friend talk me out of it. And it was kind of interesting. He talked me out of it, and then he went to the coach on my behalf and spoke to the coach. And the coach, for whatever reason, don't know why, later that day put me into a scrimmage, and I was awesome, of course. And that led to a situation where I got to start the next game. Okay. And so sometimes coaches miss you, I think. And
or they just have a understanding of what's going on that's different from what the actual circumstances are.
Yeah. And so, I think that the coach-player relationship is one that is really tough for a lot of people because you're afraid to speak to them. You're afraid to ask them questions.
Or you're a kid trying to talk to an adult, which can be intimidating.
Yeah, it's intimidating. Yeah, that's just like going to the principal at school and trying to get.
I don't think it's even on that level, though. I think that people build it up in their mind like that.
Yes.
But the thing is that your coach is there to be somebody that helps the team be successful and you be successful.
Yep.
So it's not like he's pitting himself against you.
Yep.
You wouldn't be on the team if he didn't care or she didn't care about you. Because usually coaches, they don't waste their time on people that are going to be negative or bring down everybody on the team and all that. Like they typically will just not deal with those people and leave them off the team.
Exactly.
So if you're on the team, they've already invested in you. So you should be able to go talk to them without any kind of worry about them judging you or anything like that. As long as you go in and you're not acting entitled or telling them what to do, you need to just lay it out in front of them and say, I would love to play more. I would love to do this, love to do that. Is there any way that we can make that happen? What can I do? Things like that, where you're being more gracious about it than if you're going in and just telling them what to do. That is the worst thing you can do.
You don't want to threaten the coach with your tone
because
your words.
You're not the general.
Yeah.
They are. And, your opinion matters, but you have to remember that there's 10 to 12 other people on the team. Their opinion matters too. The coach has to weigh all those in kind of the greater scheme of the what's good for the team too. So, you need to come into it with kind of that perspective. If you come into it with, it's all about me, well, good luck with that, because that's when you get kind of written off.
Yeah. One of the other things that really helps players, I think, too, is that they get more involved in the game by being closer to the coaches when the game is going on. Usually the coaches are, they have the head coach and then whoever, an assistant coach or several assistant coaches or whatever, and finding that seat that is the first player in the row. I encourage guys to take that seat. In fact, I've told lots of them that's where you need to be. And there's a couple of reasons. Number one, you can hear conversation between the coaches when they're talking about this or they're talking about that. And that helps you develop more of an aptitude for the game. The other thing that it does, you're the first person they see when they turn and look down that bench. Oh, there he is. And so maybe you're the guy they grab to put into the game in that situation. So, and it keeps you in the game. Nothing ticks me off more as a coach or even as an assistant coach, if I happen to look down the bench and I can see the last four guys down there acting like donkeys. Their attitude, they're screaming, they're disinterested in the game because they're not involved. And then all of a sudden, maybe they get called and it's time to go into the game and they haven't been involved. So they don't know what's going on. They don't know that number 13 has just dropped 4 threes on us and they got to guard him. They don't know anything about that. So it's really important that players, besides talking to coaches, be around coaches, because you can learn so much just in listening to their conversations or just chatting with them.
Yeah, and I think that one of the really, really important things of what you just said was just be in the game.
Yep.
Even if you're on the bench, doesn't mean you're out of it.
Right.
That's not like a recess or a free for all. I mean, that's one of those situations where you are still in the game and you're responsible to know what's going on. And if you're called to go back in, you can't just go in without any notion of what just happened or what's going on, because you can't pick up from that, and really be able to be effective. So you need to be in the game. Coaches see that too. Like they'll look down the bench, and if they're looking at you and they see that you're looking off to the, in the sidelines or looking down or not being in the game, they're like, oh, well, he doesn't want to be in the game right now at all. So you'll get overlooked. So you really always need to be showing the coach that you have leadership skills, that you're into it, that you're showing initiative and effort and all those things. And you can still do that on the bench as well. And, wrapping that all back into being able to talk to your coach, your coach will get a better idea of who you are too.
Yeah.
And, that's a super important part of it. What is all of this worth to you? Are you investing time away from practice, away from the games? All those things really show the coach what it is, you are putting forth in terms of your contribution to the team. So you always need to have open dialogue with the coach. And, I wish I could go back and have more of that with the coaches that I had. But it's one of those things where we're here to tell you to go do that now, so you're not in the same position. And it might be a bummer the first 2 seconds leading up to it, but as soon as you start talking to your coach, you will feel much better. It is not that hard.
Well, let's talk about
even the scariest coaches.
Let's talk about when to talk to the coach.
Okay.
One of the things that's really a mistake is to kind of
corner them.
Corner them maybe at the end of a game when their emotions maybe are really kind of intense, and maybe yours are as well. And then you start questioning why you didn't get a chance to play or why you played so little. That's going to be a situation that you're going to not enjoy, because usually the coach is going to be uptight, especially if it's a loss, but that's not what he wants to talk about at that particular time. He's rehashing the game in his mind, and he's going to be talking to the team so that there are things that he's trying to bring to the fore. He doesn't want to listen to somebody who is complaining about the fact that he only played 5 minutes and should have been playing more than that, or didn't play at all. And so the best time to chat with him is maybe the following day at practice, and maybe go in early and sit down in the office and start the discussion on a very friendly tone. Hey, coach, what's up? What'd you do last week? And heard you caught fish on the river last week. And kind of come in with some light comments and whatnot. And then after a while, after you can see, and he can see that it's going to be kind of mellow, coach, I also wanted to know, what can I do to make myself better so that I can get a chance to get on that floor more? And he will sit down with you and he'll line it out from his perspective, what it is that you need to do to be able to get on the floor more.
I also think it's not a great idea to corner them kind of set the situation up when there is a bunch of people around, when they're trying to run a practice or something like that, or a tryout, or all of that stuff is not the best time. It's totally okay to ask your coach, hey coach, can we maybe meet for 10 minutes, tomorrow, or do you have 10 minutes right now that we could just, chat real quick? Asking questions like that and setting up a time that's appropriate for kind of a more intimate discussion is a good way to go.
Yeah. But Casey's point here, and I think this is really good, it should be a private conversation.
Yeah.
It's not one where other teammates should be involved. It's not one where other coaches necessarily should be involved. Unless sometimes coaches will do this. Hey, wait a minute. Hey, coach, come on in for a minute, and we sit and we talk. And so that might happen, but that's probably doesn't, but they may do that.
If you want to shoot yourself in the foot, turn this situation into a confrontation.
Oh, yes.
And you do that by asking at an inappropriate time where there's people around, or it's intense, period for the coach, or sending a third party like your parents or something like that.
Yeah.
That turns it instantly into a confrontation, and you will not get the benefit out of it that you would if you just go in and talk to them. And let us tell you that you will feel fine after 2 seconds of talking to them.
Yeah.
Because the tension and anxiety that you build up is all really in your head.
Yeah.
And, it's not really a big deal.
Now, on the other hand, you should probably realize that not every coach in the world is going to be cut out of the same cloth. Some of them are going to be very mellow, and others are going to be kind of moderately tweaked, and some are very high strung. And I've known a few of those in my life, and there's definitely very careful times when you want to approach those people. So you kind of need to evaluate what the situation is. But most of all, learn to be around your coach. Chat with them. Talk about the game. Talk about the fact that
time out. We got a Blue Jay going on over here. All right, go ahead.
But I forgot my train of thought there. But
yeah, and coaches are all different.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter remains that you need to talk to the coach.
Yeah.
Go out, be the one that reaches out yourself, because that's really going to make all the difference.
Yeah. And, Parents oftentimes get overzealous when they watch Johnny sit on the bench game after game, and their perception of you as a player is way different than the coach's perception.
Yeah, you're Michael Jordan to your parents.
Yeah, and not to discredit parents at all, because all parents feel the same way. I did too a few times. But the point is that the reality of what goes on in practice every day and in games every day is something that the parents have no real knowledge of. They don't know anything unless they're at practice every day, and they're not going to be. And the coach doesn't want them to be either, because it's a distraction. But the thing is that parents kind of need to let you deal with those kind of problems on your own. But unless you're being physically or emotionally abused in some way, then it's time to have mom and dad help you out. But otherwise, they kind of want to stay and keep a low profile and not get involved with the coach as to why you're not getting to play more.
Yeah, of course.
It's all in your domain. You can handle it.
Yeah, I mean, in situations where it is very serious like that, of course, you talk to your parents. We should have said that at the beginning. But, if it's just a situation where you feel like there's a miscommunication or things are getting lost in the shuffle, then you should go talk to your coach. Yeah. It's really not a hard thing to do. It's a lot built up in your head.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to stop right there with that discussion. Hopefully that helps you guys feel a little bit better. If you are feeling like you need to go talk to your coach, listen to the ways that we kind of talked to you about the approach. And I think you'll find that that's really the best way to go in there and chat with them. Yeah. We know a ton of coaches. We've been coaches. We've been players. So we know how that feels initially. And we also know how to set up the best situation for that to turn out for you. So definitely take those tips and go talk to your coach. Even if you're not having a problem, go talk to your coach.
Yeah, it's a great idea to just get friendly with them. And you'd be surprised what you find out about them. That's good.
Yeah, and you might be offered some more insight into developing your game and being better. And they also will maybe go to bat for you more too, like helping send out letters for your recruitment or talking to coaches about you. I mean, that's something that you can also kind of endear yourself with as well. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. If you guys have more questions about how to talk to coaches or anything like that, let us know in the questions that you're sending to us right now, or you can send them to us during the week, and we'll do our best to get back to you guys. But if you have anything more, just let us know. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to shift over into the Q&A portion of the show. If you guys have questions, make sure that you send them to us on Twitter. We are at Shot Science on Twitter. You can also send them to us on Google Plus. On the Google Plus app for this video. You can also send them to us in the chat here on YouTube and on Facebook. Wherever, just send them to us, and we'll do our best to get to all of them if we can. If we don't, we're sorry, but we'll try our best to get to you throughout the week. Also, if you could go out and just tell your friends and family and retweet and send out the link to the show, we would really appreciate it, because that helps us get more people over here on Team Shot Science, and we can bring in more cool guests and stuff for you guys and have great topics and all that. So go out there and do that for us. We'd really appreciate it. Okay, so now we're going to get into the Q&A. Okay, so what we're going to do, first question here is from Jack Kingston. He's talking about today's topic, and he says, this is an important topic. I find that a lot of players don't take the time to talk to their coach enough. I enjoy talking to my coach because he will be able to communicate with me any important points and ideas that I should keep in mind. I was talking to a coach about shooting a lot recently, and after pulling his ideas into practice, my shooting improved. I'm looking forward to the podcast. Yeah, great. Awesome. I mean, that's exactly the situation that we're talking about. Yeah. If you go in there, you might get some pearls of wisdom that will really help you in the long run. Yeah. So that's cool. Thanks, Jack. Okay. This one is, I guess Ian Cipollaro says, same with me. So that's cool. Okay. This one is from Big Shactus in the chat. And he says, or he or she says, I had to leave my team for personal reasons, but I did it in a bad way. I just stopped going to practices, and I didn't even tell anyone. I don't regret leaving the team because that choice made me happier instantly. But now, after a year and a half, I miss playing for a team again. I'm tempted to go back, but I feel like it would be just too weird after dropping out without saying a word. How should I approach this? Maybe should I find a different team?
Go back, go to the coach.
Yep.
And just admit the fact that, you didn't make a very good choice.
You blew it.
Coaches can deal with that. What is kind of difficult for coaches is that if you never talk to them about why you are going or why you went, and probably they're going to be kind of open-minded about it. Say, okay, well, they're going to be a little different parameters maybe for you this time because of the way you left the team last time. And you've got to, I was talking to an old coach friend of mine from many, many years ago, just yesterday. And one of the things that we were talking, or he was talking about, is he had a player who was really, really good player, came out for baseball. And what happened is that all of a sudden one day he wasn't there anymore. And he never got to the coach or anything through the rest of the season. But the next year was his senior year, and he came to the coach and said, I'd really like to play. Is there a chance I can do that? And the coach said, well, this is what you're going to have to do to prove to me that you're not going to do exactly the same thing again. And if you pass this test, then you're welcome to come and be a part of this team. And what he told him is that he had to run every day. And he gave him a particular distance. He had to run every day. If he didn't show up, he wasn't going to make that team. And he had to run every day during the football season and the basketball season before the baseball season got there. And the coach was telling me with kind of a chuckle, he said he was there every day. Well, that proved to me that he was making a commitment, that he wanted to come back and that he would work hard and honor his commitment to the team. So I think that probably that's the best thing to do is just go to the coach and say, coach, I really screwed up on the way I left this team before. And now I'd like to have another chance. If you could deal with that or help me with it, that'd be appreciated. And this is what I will do. I'll really work hard. I'll be there every day, and so on and so on.
Yep.
Coaches are pretty agreeable guys for the most of the part, and women too.
Okay, so that's that. Yeah, I mean, you got to go talk to the coach. I mean, that's the bottom line on all this stuff.
Well, hang on. I noticed there's a comment here that says, if you didn't like those guys, choose another team. Well, that's true, but maybe you don't have a choice to choose another team. Maybe you're in a school where if you leave, you lose some eligibility. You can't play right away. And so make the best deal that you can for yourself at that time.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's a reason why all these circumstances came up in the first place, maybe that would be something to discuss with the coach too,
Yep.
and give them some background on what happened and everything. But yeah, talk to your coach. And I think I would do it either way, even if you're not going back on the team. That would maybe give you some closure on it and make you feel better about it.
Yeah, truly.
Okay, we're going to Twitter. This one is from James Scott J, who is at Fish Are My Dish on Twitter. He says, what is the best way to practice free throws? I shoot at around 70%, but I want to improve. Okay. Number one, go watch our shooting videos. Yeah. Number two, I would say that you really want to work on making your shooting mechanics as efficient as possible. So that means eliminating any of the unnecessary elements that don't need to be part of your shot. And that means getting rid of dips and any movement with your body that doesn't need to be there, using your offhand in a way that isn't efficient, having any herky-jerky points where you lose power, or stopping points where you lose power in your mechanics. Really work on getting rid of those things, and you can do that really well by doing something like the form shooting drill. And really the key is just getting as many repetitions using diligently approached form as you possibly can. So it really is it's a mental exercise too to do this. You have to get out there and you have to really focus on fixing your mechanics so that they're as smooth and efficient as possible, and getting the repetitions doing that so that you build up the muscle memory. And then one of the things that we always talk about too is doing that during different levels of fatigue during your training. So a lot of people, they'll go in and they'll shoot free throws at the very beginning of practice or just before practice. And, you come in and you're fresh and there's nothing really holding you down. You're not feeling winded or fatigued or anything like that. And yeah, you're dropping like 90% on your free throws. But consider going into the fourth quarter of a game and you've been playing the whole game and you need to step to the free throw line and make both of those free throws. Have you felt the fatigue level of the fourth quarter while you were practicing your free throws in practice? The answer is no, because you've always shot your free throws at the beginning of practice before anything has really taken the wind out of you. So you need to practice at different times during your conditioning on anything really, but especially your free throws. Otherwise, you're going to get to the line and you're going to everything's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
you haven't been there before.
Yeah. One of the things that Casey mentioned, I think, is really important too, and that is making your shot efficient. One of the things that I noticed, I had a young man here today, and we kind of talked about this. When he got ready to shoot his free throw, he would bounce the ball once, which I think is really good to have a routine that you use. Some people like to pass the, yeah, simple. And some guys like to pass it around their waist and bring back. Some like to bounce it twice. Some want to bounce it twice with their left hand. Whatever the routine is, that is good. And what we're doing with that routine is we're really kind of establishing some rhythm for the shot. And so let that be. One of the things that we do that I don't recommend, though, is you take the ball and you have a double set point. You have a set point that's right down near your midsection. That's where you're going to start your shot from. And then you pull it up here, and then you go from that location. And usually what happens, you're not very successful. If you just take the ball and bring it up into your set position and go from there.
This is what you're talking about. It's going from like, okay, we're here.
Down lower even. Yeah.
Okay, some people, we're here, and then you go here, and then you go up. Like
yes.
That's kind of not what you want to do. What you want to do is really just, if you watch Steph Curry, everything is fluid from his up to, him starting up into his motion. So it's really, he's right here. He's got everything ready to go. And then it's just right up into the shot.
Yeah. You don't want hitch points along the way where you take the ball and you start your midsection, then you pull it up and then you go. That makes the shot really kind of herky jerky, and the rhythm then just kind of goes out the window. And with that shooting rhythm not being there, usually not very effective.
Yep. Okay. And, the other thing too, is that you want to make sure that you're not having the ball go extra distances or adding in movements, because all of that stuff is points where your form can break down or something can go wrong. Efficiency is how you lead to repeatability. Yeah. Repeatability will lend to your accuracy, and accuracy, of course, is points. So you really want to par everything down, make it as streamlined as possible. Any extra stuff that you add on, more complexity, that will kill your repeatability and accuracy. So that's not great. Okay. This one is from Nathan Thompson, who is at NateT_AF, who is here all the time. He says, how to create space for my shot. I know to close the space, but after that, how do I create the space? Step back the only way? Nope.
Step back is an effective way to do that. One of the things that you want to consider is that there's several situations where you're going to create space. One of those is creating space off the dribble, and one of them is creating the space as you are in a standstill situation. Let's say,
or without the ball,
or without the ball as well. And so one of the things that you want to think about there is what things, and we call these pre-moves. The pre-moves are things like this, where we can create space. Number one, we want to take and use the jab step. And we have a little different program for teaching the jab step, and it's pretty effective and allows you to take and go either right or left. And so that is a pre-move where we want to get you going one way and then we're going to go the other, and we create that space for the shot. Another thing that we do is we spend a lot of time with all of our players on shot fakes. One of the things that happens when we're on shot fakes is that it'll start down at your midsection and finish up 2 feet above your head, and with your legs straight. And by the time you recover to a shooting position or to a go position, you're going to drive, so much time has elapsed, the defense is already recovered as well. So we like to have real short, crisp little shot fakes that really look like shots, and the legs don't really extend at all.
Yeah,
because that way we're ready to go right now.
You don't want to do more than you need. You really just want to sell it with the minimal possible, right. And that will give you the advantage, because then you don't have to expend as much energy. It doesn't take as much time, and time is super important, because if you get that guy off balance, then you have a very small amount of time to take advantage of it.
Right.
And if you are pulling it back down from your shot fake or whatever, that's time that elapsed that you lose out on that opportunity.
Right. And one of the other moves that we use as a pre-move is we like to rip and go. And in that situation, the ball is caught maybe on your right shoulder, and we rip it underneath our knees and reach out a long one-on-one
It's
going
like
to
a
the
swing
basket.
through.
Yeah, we swing it through hard, and we get a long step, and that creates immediate separation. And hopefully then we're going to be able to take, within a dribble or two, be able to pull up and get the shot.
That's a Michael Jordan staple for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that those are standstill situations. In other words, I received the ball, now I'm facing the basket, and so I've got 3 or 4 options that I can use. Now, if we're going to take and go off the dribble, we really prefer a couple of things, maybe 3 things. One of them is what we call just a regular step back, where you're going to go to your strong side. We're going to go to our left. Let's say I'm a right-hander, we're going to go left. And the first thing that we'll want to remember when we are going to take and use a step back is we want to attack and kind of force the defender to defend to the inside of the floor. In other words, we don't want to be fading away from them. As we attack, we want to be able to get our shoulder into them, and they'll probably be close. And as we get ready to step back, we're just going to take and use this elbow here just to ease them just a little bit and step away from them at the same time, and that creates some space for the shot. Now, the other situation is where we're going to the opposite side of the floor, and we prefer a little step back that's a little different. It's called a crack step back. And we're going to be doing a video on that pretty soon, but it's a much quicker way to get the step back than using the same pattern as you would if you were going on the left side. It's a little quicker. And so those things are really important in creating space. So
I agree. And I think the most important thing is creating space before you actually are shooting it.
Sure.
There's no real great way to create space right at the point of shooting.
No.
The best way is to do it off the dribble with a dribble attack. And, we have a bunch of those on our channel.
Right.
You can check those out. It's good to have 2 or 3 maybe of those and a counter of each of those that will help you with the dribble attack, creating space. Then I think, for me personally, I think the best way to create space for your shot is moving without the ball.
Yeah.
Doing things like V cuts, L cuts, the backdoor cut. All of those will get you such crazy open looks that you will be amazed. And it takes less effort really to do that than to catch the ball and then have the immediacy of having the ball in your hands and then trying to figure out how to create space. So,
well, one of the things that goes along with what Casey's talking about there too is you wear the defender out.
Yep.
You just make a move from side of the floor, always cutting, always busy. And one of the things that I think is really awesome, if a player can learn how to move constantly, the defensive guy gets exhausted, or he begins to lose interest in what you're doing and doesn't guard you as quickly or as closely. And therefore you are able to create openings there too, especially when you're offside, away from the basketball. So those things are important for just creating your openings for the shot.
Okay, here is one from this one is from Luka Kokic, who says, how to get in the starting lineup of a new team, just switch teams.
Well, coming onto a team, a new team, if the coach doesn't know very much about you, then one of the things that you need to do without being too overt is to show them what your talents are. Show them you can shoot the ball. Tell them you can show them how you defend. Let them see you displaying effort on the court. Those are the kind of things that coaches use in evaluating players and seeing what you bring to the team. That's important. You've got to get it and show them.
Yeah, and you gotta
without being like an and one player or a street ball player. You have to. It has to be good, solid basketball before they'll really buy it.
Yeah, and the thing about it too is that you have to earn it too. It's if you just switch to a team, I mean, you are not deserving anything until you prove it.
Yeah.
And if you go check out our video, how to make the team, we put pretty much exactly the things that we would tell you to do in that video for your question right here. Yeah. So how to get in the starting lineup is essentially the same way that you get noticed by a coach in tryouts and stuff. So how to make the team would be a great video to go watch.
It would.
Okay, this one is from Bimnet Tackle, who says, I'm trying out for a new team tomorrow that I know I would dominate in. Do you guys have any tips on to prepare to dominate a practice? I'm talking about how my mental mindset should be. How about not necessarily that mindset? I think you should really just go out there and play your game.
Yeah, dominating a practice. I don't think that's the kind of thing a coach wants to see.
Well, it's a tryout, I think.
Well, it's a tryout, but still, they don't want to see you going out there acting like you're the best thing since sliced bread. What they want to really see is what can you execute? What is your effort like? Have you got offensive skills? Can you put the ball on the floor? Can you shoot the ball? Can you defend? Those are the kind of things that they want to know. And they don't care necessarily about all the flash and dash that you might have as a part of your package. And so
they also care about, your comportment as a player, like your leadership, your attitude, your effort, your initiative. Yeah. All of those things count, at least as much.
Yeah. Well, the term that you use there where you're talking about being dominant, kind of would lead me to think that maybe you want to play kind of cocky. You don't want to play cocky. You want to play with self-assuredness, but not cockiness. And there's a difference between the two. But hopefully that answered your question.
I would say not even self-assuredness. Confidence is really what it is.
Confidence is good.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to another one here. This one is from one Mogain23, who says, "Hey guys, how do I get the respect I deserve? People harp on me for a few bad games I've had, but I mostly do great, and they still give more respect to bums that can't play as good as me on my off days. Last game I scored 18 out of 21 points. We lost, then I got picked up last for the next team. Please explain how I can change this." Might be your attitude. I don't know, man.
It could be.
Usually when people pick on kind of the negative aspects of what is going on, or if you have a bad game or whatever, it's usually because they aren't really thrilled with your attitude during those points. So,
or away from those points either. It could be that maybe the way you conduct yourself, even aside from basketball, might have something to do with why they treat you like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would look a little bit at yourself and just see like what's going on, and make sure that you are not kind of putting yourself out there as kind of an entitled player or a cocky guy or something like that. People don't like that kind of stuff. Your attitude really counts.
Here's something that I would do. You're bringing this to us to kind of tell you what we think. You would be smart to take it to your coach.
I think these are pickup games. Is really
if they're pickup games, then you kind of have to resolve it yourself. But if you're playing on a regular team, then you take it to the coach and say, Coach, what's going on? And he'd probably be very perceptive of that. Or if you've got some buddies involved, you kind of ask them, hey, what's going on?
And, getting the respect you deserve is not all about how you play. It's also about your attitude.
Yeah. Really.
People don't care if you score 40 points on them. If you're a jerk, you're a jerk. But if you're a cool guy and you score 40 points on him, they're like, wow, that guy's awesome. He's a great player and he's a cool guy. So you got to be that guy.
Yeah.
You got to earn respect. That's really the bottom line. Okay. This one is from Surge. He says, I try to find a chance to drive all the time, but when I go, they know, and even I always miss, yet I know I'm doing a layup right. What am I doing wrong, Coach?
Well, there's a whole bunch of things.
It's hard for us to know, really.
Yeah, a whole bunch of things that could be possibly going wrong that are keeping you from being successful. And without seeing it, to be very honest, it really is almost impossible for us to tell you what's going on. But what you could do is have somebody video when you're playing a game or during a practice. And then if we have a chance to visually see what's going on, we could probably help you with it. Otherwise, it's just a stab in the dark.
Yeah, I mean, you might be out of control, which is something where you need to work on that in terms of just like kind of attenuating how you release the ball.
Well, one of the
maybe
things,
coming to a jump stop.
One of the things that he's saying here is that they seem to know when he's going to go. Well, if they know when you're going to go, that means you're giving it away, and you have to be a little more crafty than that. So,
yep. Okay, let's go back to Twitter. This is from Nathan Thompson again, who says, I get ripped a lot when driving with my weak hand. I feel like I'm pounding the ball, but still happens. Should I be making moves?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You keep going with the left hand until you figure out what it is that you need to adjust to make it more effective. And, my probably the thing that comes to my mind right away is most people with their weak hand tend to dribble in front of your feet, which exposes it to the defense. Get it outside your leg where it makes it more difficult for them to get to it, and you still can control it. Here's the other thing that makes control a lot easier too, particularly with the left hand, is sometimes we get the ball so close to our body that we become handicapped by it. So we want to get it out and away and outside our feet. That probably help you a ton.
Yeah. Okay, this one is from Ryun, who is at Ryan Duo on Twitter, who says, "How can I improve my shooting?"
Well, first of all, what you want to do is make sure that the things you're doing with your shot are good elements. And I would recommend that you go to some of our videos playlist and just check it out and see what that shot needs to look like. And then once you kind of have those mechanics working, what you want to do is practice, and then practice some more. And, you know, I was chatting with a young man today. We were kind of making some changes in his shot. And he was really excited about some of the things that we were doing. And, you know, our parting words were these, is that now it's time for you to practice all of this on your own and see if you can make it be effective for you. And that's what it takes, is just doing it right and then perfecting what you've already found to be the best way to deliver the ball on your shot.
Read that one right there.
Okay, this is Texan 777 fan. I recently sprained my ankle and have already been out for 2 weeks. The doctor told me I should stay out for 2 more weeks. I hate missing out on practice. And by the time I come back, tryouts will be very close. Should I try to cut the rest time in half or come back early? Well, you know, we're not doctors, and certainly we shouldn't be giving you recommendations on what you should do due to an injury like that. Oftentimes, we find that doctors kind of overdo the recovery time on some things. But you know, they're a lot more knowledgeable than we are. So that's something that I think I would do is see how it feels at the end of 2 weeks. And if it's feeling pretty good, then maybe visit the doctor again and let him examine it. And maybe he'll say, well, okay, we could maybe go right now. But you know, we can't advise you really on that.
Right. Okay. I'm having a little bit of an allergy attack, but we're okay. This is from Nate Thompson again on Twitter, who says, my friend Momin wants to know, what should I do to get coaches' attention during tryouts if I'm only 5'4"?
You know, people worry so much about size when it comes to tryouts, and certainly coaches are attracted to bigger guys. But that doesn't mean that they're the only ones they're interested in. There's a guy that is playing for the local D-League Warrior team who is about 5'9", and is he 5'7"? And he, during tryouts, I mean, he was just this little bitty guy, but he was extremely fast and had really pretty good ball skills. And he ended up being selected on the team. And he was really a small guy by those standards, because they had a couple of 6 or 7 footers, and a lot of guys are around 6'7", 6'8". But here he is bringing what he does best. And that's the other thing that you have to kind of think about, is that sometimes what's going to happen is that you bring something because of your size to the game that can be effective for that team. Maybe it is your quickness. Maybe it is the fact that you are super tenacious on defense and you can guard people really well. So quit being so concerned about your size. And as far as the things you can make people take notice of, take and really work on all your ball skills. Make sure that you work on your shooting and demonstrate your effort from day one. Effort means how much energy and whatnot that you're going to put into playing, particularly on the defensive side of the game. Coaches love guys who will play hard and show effort. And usually you demonstrate that on the defensive side in basketball.
Okay, this one's from Sean Carter Paul, who says, what kind of workout should I do to improve my shooting?
Well, this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about a moment ago, and that is find out if your shooting mechanics are looking pretty good. How are you going to know? Well, you could send us a video and ask us to take a look at it, and we will. And we'll tell you, okay, you need to do this, this, and this. Or we may say, it looks really great. Now what you need to do is spend time, a whole lot of time, on shooting shots. We could advise you to shoot 500 a day. We could advise you to shoot 1,000 a day. But the reality of it is you have to shoot whatever will fit into your schedule. When you're going to school and you got homework and all those other commitments during the year, you have to figure out. But if you could squeeze in 300 to 500 makes, not shots, but makes per day, that would be awesome. If you could only get 500 in a week, that also would be awesome. But forget about the shots. Talk in terms of made shots.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that you need to do the 3 pillars of practice. You need to have your diligent shooting practice where you're working, developing your form and really working everything out and taking it slow and building that up. Then you want to have your game speed, game intensity practice where you take all of the skills from your diligent practice, apply them to situations that are more game-like, Then you want to go to the 3rd pillar, which is actual game experience, where you're taking all of that stuff that you put together in those situations in the diligent practice and the game intensity, game speed practice into actual game play, where you're playing pickup games, school team games, whatever, and get your experience there.
Now,
so
you asked there, what workouts should you do to improve your shooting? Well, one of the things that we recommend everybody is that you do form shooting, our form shooting drill every day.
Yep.
And what you find that is after about day 3 or day 4, your shot starts to take on a much more positive look. And you have to make sure that you get all the elements working for you. But what you do with that is you spend that time developing that shot at a short distance, and then you can actually move back and use the same drill after a couple of weeks. You can also work, we have what we call a no iron a form shooting drill too, where
they can check out our video on the form shooting drill.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is do the form shooting drill, and then also check out our buddy Dennis Stanton, he's an incredible shooter. He's a coach, but he's an incredible shooter. He's played at all different levels, but he's one of those guys. He can make every single shot on the floor every time. But he has a spin shooting workout that is like 20 or 30 minutes long, that is just game speed, game intensity mixed in with some form stuff
and some free throw shooting too.
Yeah, it's great. I would check that out. So Dennis Stanton, and we did a live show with him a few months ago, which is good.
Well, we also had a recent video come through from Alan Stein on some shooting. I can't remember that young man's name.
Yeah, check out Alan Stein's
one
of his recent videos on his Stronger Team channel. He does workout with an NBA guy, which is really good. So check that one out too. Okay, lightning round, because we're running out of time. So let's start cracking at all these things in short answers. Okay, this one.
Yeah.
This one's from John Wolf. It says, when you shoot and the ball is in the air, is that the arc should be straight towards the basket?
Well, if you're asking about the arc of the shot, it doesn't want to go straight to the basket. The line wants to be straight on the line that is following, but the line needs to be an arced line. And if you take a look at our videos on perfect arc, is that what it is, Casey? Get perfect arc. You'll find out what that arc should look like.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously want to finish straight to the basket because that's where the target is.
Yeah.
So your finish should be in that direction. Okay, this one is from Matt Yu, who says, how are you supposed to run without the ball on offense efficiently? Because half of the time I feel like I'm not going anywhere since I'm not getting the ball. By the way, how are you supposed to call for the ball without sending like a DB or ball hog?
Okay, well, let's take the first part of it.
So it's moving without the ball.
Yeah, that's a key point.
Lightning round, remember.
Okay, I know. Learning to move without the basketball is a key element of the game of basketball. And sometimes you might go several minutes and never touch the basketball, and yet you can be a really effective player. Here's why. Let's say that you are setting on-ball screens. You're not going to get the ball there probably, and you're helping somebody else. Let's say that you're executing off-ball screens where you're screening for somebody else so they can come to the basketball. Maybe you make a backdoor cut, but they can't give you the basketball, but that is really important because it empties that side of the floor so something else can transpire there. Don't ever minimize the fact that you're doing a whole lot of work without the basketball, and you're not getting any rewards of the ball because of it. The thing that's really important is that the guys who are really effective players are those who learn to play without the basketball. remember this, and I know this is a lightning
You're
round, but
the
I'm
worst lightning round person.
I know I am. I know I can't just stop. Okay, but here's one of the most important things that everybody should know and think about. During the course of a high school basketball game, where you got 32 minutes that you're playing, and you as a player may only have the ball in your possession a total of 2.5 to 3 minutes for the whole game. Okay, and that's even if you're a major part of the offense. You're only going to have your hands on it for so much time. The point guard is going to have his hands on it more than anybody else. And so all those remaining minutes, you have to do something that is productive for your basketball team. And maybe that, and we're talking about offense now. And some of those things that you can do, we're making the cuts that Casey was talking a while ago. We're making V cuts, we're making L cuts, we're making back cuts. We're screening across the lane, we're screening on ball, we're screening off ball. Those are things that players need to do for their team to be successful.
Yeah, check out our moving without the ball videos, and definitely those last few tips. Okay, lightning round. Get a grip. Okay, here we go.
All right.
This one is from Antonio Crisculo, who says, "Hey, coach, any tips for making my weak and my weak hand, I guess, stronger at dribbling?"
Use it.
Yep. We have a whole video series on that.
Yeah.
So go to our YouTube channel and check out the playlist that is how to develop your weak hand. That's got all your stuff in there. This one is from Ruben Balula, who says, "Hey guys, what's up? I want to know, how can I jump higher? I train it so hard, but I can't see differences." Check out our vertical jump videos and our vertical jump handbook, which will help you kind of get on top of all that stuff. And let us know how that goes. Okay, this one is from, let's see, Linguini33, who says, "How do I improve my shooting? Some days I'm on fire and some days I just suck. I believe it's my confidence. Some days I feel like I'm unstoppable, and some days I feel like a mouse. I practice almost every day. Also, I'm trying to play for my community college. Thank you, and I hope you guys are having a nice day."
All right. Well, we are having a very nice day.
Except for the allergies.
Yeah, for the allergies. Yeah, that's a problem. You know, that's one of the things that happens to shooters.
It's a mindset.
It is a mindset. And oftentimes that mindset is one that can kind of sink your ship if you allow it to. Now, one of the things that I always tell all of my shooters is this: you're never going to be perfect with your shot. You're going to hit runs of shots. Maybe you'll hit 5 or 6 in a row. Maybe you'll hit 10 or 15 in a row, but then there's going to be a break. And then you couldn't buy a basket if you wanted to. But usually it is the result of one thing, and that is how you finish the shot. And so we have this little slogan that we tell everybody: focus on the finish of your shot. And we're talking about the stroke mechanics and especially the finish of the wrist off the fingers.
Right. And the other thing too is that you have to remember that your shooting is an average over time. You'll have days where you're great. You'll have days where you're not so great. It all evens out eventually.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is that you don't want to do is let it sabotage you and then start to bring you down. You can't think, "Oh man, I'm terrible. And then that brings you down. You just got to keep shooting. Every shot is a new shot. Don't think about the last one. Just make the tweaks that are necessary to make it a good shot."
Well, let me add one last thing to that.
Lightning round, man.
I know. One of the things that we often do is we miss 2 or 3 shots, and here's the mindset: "Oh, I'm off tonight. I'm not shooting any more shots. I'm going to give them all to my teammates." Worst thing in the world that you can do, especially if you're a good shooter. What you got to remember is this: is that you might miss 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 in a row, and then you might hit 5 or 6, 7, and 8 in a row. And the average for most high school players who are pretty good shooters over the course of, let's say, 10 games is going to be somewhere in that range of 38 to 40%. And so that means that even when things are really going good for you, you're still probably only on the average going to shoot. You're going to miss 6 out of every 10 shots. I mean, that's reality. Now, once in a while, you'll find some guys who they'll hit 10 out of 15 or something like that. But then the next night they maybe go 0 for 10. So.
Right. Okay. So I see a couple questions here that I can answer very quickly.
All right.
And I'm just going to nail them out. If you have something quick to say, you can say it.
All right.
This one is from VS Synergy, who says, "When you jump for a shot, when do you release?" We have a video on that called "When to Release on the Jump Shot" or something like that. Check out that video and we explain exactly what it is. And then we have one here that says, Ultra Spider 123 says, "How do I regain my balance quickly after a hard step back to make the shot?" If you are using proper footwork, you will not have any problem with balance. So it's all about the footwork. and staying low and going low to high, not high, low, high when you go into that.
Yeah, exactly.
This one is from 2Mo, who says, "Hi, I'm 14. I'm not good at left layups. How can I fix it?" That's easy. Practice and go check out our layups 101 video and realize that your right hand or your strong hand is the same as your left. You just have to put more effort into developing that weaker side.
You can improve that left hand in probably 2 or 3 days. You'd be surprised.
Okay, this one is from Juliet Akinwole, who says, "Do you think that it will cause trouble if you want to talk to your coach about someone on your team that you have a problem with?"
No, it would not cause a problem.
No. But you got to approach that in a very kind of measured way where you're not attacking people. You're kind of explaining the situation and what's going on.
Exactly. The coach should know. So let them know.
Yeah, and if they don't, I mean, that's fine to tell them about it, but just not in an accusatory or attacking kind of way. Okay, last one. This is from Royal Blaster, who says, "How can I get back into basketball shape? It's been about a year since I played, and I want to play again." You got to get out there, start playing, and you can work on your conditioning at the same time, work on developing your skills, and that's really the only thing you can do. There is no secret pill. There is no magic formula. You just have to do it. Right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, you guys. So if we didn't get to your question, we are very sorry. It's not because we didn't like you. It's because we just ran out of time. We'll try to go through and hit some of these that we missed just over the next couple days. If you really want your question answered, tweet it to us, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we possibly can. You can follow us on Twitter. We are Shot Science there. You can follow us on Facebook. We are Shot Science there. You can follow us on Google+. Guess what? We're Shot Science there too. And you can just type in Shot Science on all those places and we should be the first one that shows up. Send us your questions, follow us, check out all the stuff that we post every day. Check out our YouTube channel where we post everything that we make in terms of videos on there, and make sure you subscribe. Tell people about Team Shot Science because we want to get as many people over here as we can. And remember, we will be back next week, 1 p.m. Pacific time, Sunday, for another live show. And if you guys want more people to be on as guests, you need to share, okay? So thanks so much, everybody. We will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.